Hey, what is up, you dirty dogs? This is the Vikes Nation podcast, episode number 1. And I'm basically going to go off script here and just see how it goes. I'm actually on the way to work right now, 6:19 a.m., Wednesday, May 28th, 2025. And today, we're going to be talking about the Vikings offseason. And because I am doing it off the cuff, you guys will really get a sense of my true Vikings knowledge. And yeah, I feel like it'll be a fun flow of conversation, hopefully I can improve going off the dome and do a good mix of Minnesota Vikings talk, and as well as mix some humor in there. So thank you guys all for tuning in. I'll just let you guys know a little background too. I got a 15-minute commute to work every day, so I figured why not try to start a little Vikings podcast. So the first thing I want to dive into is actually the defense. Let's start with the back end and the secondary. And let's start with the longest standing Viking. Been on the team since 2012. And he's got a certain nickname. Harry the Hitman. And let's start off with talking about Harrison Smith. I think he's going into his 14th season in the NFL, all in purple. I feel like Harry the Hitman is the perfect modern example of what a Viking should be, and the kind of players the organization should strive to get. But I don't really think that's possible, because he really is a unique player in terms of his ability and just the type of dude he is, where one thing, I feel there's two things that set him apart from the rest of the safeties in the NFL and kind of in his generation. One of those being, sorry, I'm getting past the car here. And let's start off with the physical traits or ability. One thing I think Harrison does more consistently than any player in his generation, the Eric Weddles and so on, is his consistency week to week and his versatility throughout the Mike Zimmer years, and even now he's 36, 37 years old almost, and he's still Flores' favorite player because of his versatility and because of his consistency. You can rely on him for anything. And that defense, because he's the smartest player on the field, IQ-wise, at least on the defensive side of the ball. And he can really be used to do it all. He's great in coverage. He's great just being a center fielder back there and watching the back glass half protecting the field. And then he'll also come down, and he's always been a hitter and been able to lay the boom at 6'2". And his IQ makes it where you can put him in the blitz packages. He'll disguise so much where even now in his in his later years, he's still crazy effective just because he can psych out a QB, and he really uses that part of the game to his advantage. And then his consistency is unmatched, where I feel like he's rarely out for a long period of time. And he really does play great week to week. Where he's almost one of those guys you can rely on so much you don't have to think about him. You just expect they'll do their job. And then I think both those things are kind of higher level football fan things where they don't necessarily get acknowledged. And the same thing goes there with his personality. He's quiet, he doesn't look for attention, humble, unselfish. You can tell he just loves the game and cares about doing whatever's best for the team, and he's still playing because you can see that passion in the game. You can see he's completely in the game, and he's one of those dudes who knows it's not going to last forever, especially now. This might be his final year where he takes it all in and makes the most of it. And yeah, personality-wise, maybe the one football player of the last 15 years you want to get to know, get to be friends with, know more about, and that man should never have to pay for a meal in the state of Minnesota ever again. He should get free poon access to whatever woman in the state of Minnesota. No homo. Even though I know he's married and has a kid now. Congratulations, Harry. But if that's what he wanted, he deserves anything he wants in that city of Minneapolis and Minnesota. He was there when AP tore his ACL. I almost said when Teddy went down, but that almost makes it too negative. So I'll say he was there during the Case Keenum years. The Diggs catch. And lately, he's been here for the Brian Flores era, which I do think when he came in, he loved Zimmer. They had a great relationship, but him and Flores do too, where he can use them for so many different things in his scheme, where I really think this has brought a new level of joy of playing football for him, and I think it's mutually beneficial, where he's great on this defense, especially with, I will say, the one Quessy bus, which is Lewisine. And that's the one Quessy bus that you really can hate on. That was his first draft pick too, where that's pretty crazy in my opinion. But yeah, I'm lucky to have Harry. Say play till he's 60. He's got to take a Viagra. But yeah, that's all. The one last thing I'll end it on is, I do believe, I may be a little biased, but I do believe he deserves to go in the Hall of Fame. And because when you do look at his stats, and even just watching a true football head watching you and see his greatness, and his stats match up with some of the best in his era and before, where I've seen him have some better stats than like a Troy Polamalu, where that with the hair and with Super Bowl moments that he had, it's kind of, he gets more attention. But I think Harry deserves it just as much. And I'll say, to end it all, I'm gonna shed a tear. Full homo.